So, looks like we are live on Facebook now. And okay, so we're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, we're recording for later, and Cam 4. Oh, Shab 1. Yes, I do and I will at my goal. So, let's talk about why my live stream started late today, unfortunately. Does that work? That works. Okay. So today, and hopefully I don't know how well this microphone is. Can you hear me that well, Shob? Because the microphone that I'm using right now is actually attached to my headset, which was one thing that I wanted to talk about my last stream, that I was thinking of getting a wireless headset, which I do. And of course, now that I'm streaming on YouTube, this is my first official live stream on YouTube. For those people watching, I know that I haven't used my channel in a long time on YouTube because I've got a brand new YouTube channel that I'm working on more. But anyways, so for those of you who saw my post earlier online, I mentioned that I was going to be starting this live stream at um, at 7 o'clock, which unfortunately did not happen. That did not happen because I was in a car accident. I literally just got into my apartment about an hour ago, and that accident was at 3:30. And so, of course, this was delayed, this stream. And from last week's live stream, if you saw that, I kind of wanted to talk about my goals for this channel, my channels, and what's coming up in the future. So I guess that kind of goes in line with I guess ironically with the car accident I was in, only because it sort of makes me question how and why it happened. We know why and how. It's just, I've been driving for so long. I've never been in an accident. And when you're in a car accident, yeah, I'm so shaken. And I have been in accidents with a deer. I was driving across country and I hit a family deer. It was the middle of the night. They jumped over the barrier, went through the windshield. My face was bruised on the one side. If you're watching this on YouTube, replaying it, I'll probably have some sort of clip I can cut in there to show you. But I was shaking. I was really shaking, and I've never felt that way, physically shaking from something like that. I mean, that was frightening. It was scary. Um, yeah, I just didn't expect it. It's really not enjoyable in any way, unfortunately. Um, it was something that I didn't expect. It was, whew, honestly, getting into a car accident. I'm just happy nobody was hurt, you know? Um, but it just sort of takes your breath away for a period of time, and I mean, it's like, it's been hours and I'm already home, and it's like it never happened. It's similar to going on a plane trip. I think it takes hours to get there, and then you finally get there, and it's like the trip never happened. You're just there. So, for coming up for the new year, I mean, if we're talking about the regular Gregorian calendar and all, for New Year, my thoughts about where that's going to go. I don't really do resolutions necessarily with regards to waiting a whole year, why wait, just do it. It's sort of like that saying, one day you'll do something. Well, instead of it being one day, why not make this day one? And so I had to think about that sort of aspect of what am I, oh my God, this stuff's falling everywhere. What am I going to be doing, with this accident? What does it tell me? And it's not so much of a driving issue because I took a driving course and, I went to driving school. So that is not really the issue. I mean, nobody's perfect, really, when it comes to driving. Uh, I mean, I guess you're perfect if you go your whole life without any accidents. I guess that's where that, comes in. I guess that's how you are perfect, I would say. Um, but I'm just happy that obviously no one got hurt. I don't have my car right now. It actually is, it's in an impound because I have a hybrid, and so the damage to my vehicle was on the undercarriage of it, so they've got to take a look. So it can't, they don't know if it's roadworthy or not. So unfortunately, when you look at vehicles like that have really serious, it's wherever a serious component is in an electric vehicle or any vehicle, it's where you have to question, should I be driving this vehicle right now? So I thought, for safety of it, I don't want to drive this vehicle. Let's just get it to the shop, and then once, um, you know, we just take a look at it. I'd rather take the weekend and not have the vehicle and just not go hiking and not do whatever it is that I wanted to do. But so that's sort of my advice to people from what I've learned, is just the idea that I don't know. I'm just really good admitting when I'm at fault, and I am at fault, and I'm okay with that, and I can admit that, and admit, because it's worse if you don't admit when you've screwed up. It really is much worse, and I can take full responsibility for things that I've screwed up on, as people should. And I've learned that actually, if you take responsibility immediately, the consequences, as it were, are not that bad. People don't care so much if you're going to take responsibility for things. So, being in a car accident, it's just the fact that, thankfully nobody else was injured. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just noticing there's a bunch of people on YouTube joining. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Hopefully this sort of, I don't know. I guess the idea, I've said it before, the videos I make and that I record are really, for me, for making my time pass and something to do. But also, when you get into trouble, like a car accident like I did today, you go online nowadays and you want to look at other people's stories. So I think everybody should be sharing their stories of whatever experiences we have, because the more versions of it that we have, the better. And that's what we need. We should all share something, because someone might get something good out of it. And if you can help one person, then that's plenty. So yeah, so I mean, it's this is why I started my live stream late, because of that reason, unfortunately. How's this light down here, you guys? Can you see me on my other camera? Is that okay? Let me pull this a little higher or more over. I don't know. Um, I've got a couple, for those of you just joining on YouTube, I have a few different places I'm live streaming right now. One of them is Facebook, for example, and I've got a light as well down here. I'm not sure if that's actually good enough, but so that's why I started my stream late, because I was in a car accident, unfortunately. So, but what I wanted to talk about in this stream was resolutions. And as I mentioned a moment ago, I don't really make resolutions at the end of the year, beginning of the year. I don't wait. Why wait, right? Why, as I mentioned earlier, why is it one day I'll do this? No, make this day one, because you might not have another day. And I mean, with the accident that I was in today, that kind of proves it. I don't take life for granted. I've been through a lot of intense situations. So for me, when they say be in the moment, I don't have to think about it. I am usually in the moment. And I know that in the moment. So what am I doing next year? Well, I'd like to be healthier again. I've started doing calisthenics here at home, and maybe start swimming again next year is what I'd like to do. I just feel really good when I'm swimming, and it's just something that it's just good for you, especially when you're stressed out, when you've been in a car accident, right? When you've had that situation when you're stressed out, because it's just a really good way to get your frustrations out, your anger, your aggression, as it were, and not to do that in a way that's inappropriate. It's got to be the right way to get your frustrations out. You can't just, you got to direct that frustration somewhere else. So I think for me, it's swimming is what I like to do. It's something that I'm going to try and continue maybe doing next year if I can. It's expensive. And actually, right now with this car accident, this is actually costing me an initial $400 because of the violation, which is interesting because the way they phrased it was saying that I was not taking care, but you can easily take care and be careful while driving and still make mistakes and still have an accident. So the way they phrase that, I don't really like that phrasing of it. So if anyone out there wants to send me $400, please send it my way, because I gotta send that to the city, in the next 30 days. Oh my gosh. So anyways, so my goals for next year. Well, I'd like to get a little healthier, get back to the gym. That would be amazing if I could do that. Um, I'm not really sure where I'll, where my I think I'd like to do more live streaming. I want to set a schedule for myself as well. More live streaming, a schedule, and get healthier. I mean, isn't that a general goal? My third YouTube channel, I want to focus on that more now that I have time. And I think I might amalgamate my YouTube channels into one. I've never been a fan of that. I like to keep topics separate. Like my first YouTube channel is all more about me, which is why I'm live streaming this there. Second one is more about my health and what I do. And the third one is just random stuff and thoughts and ideas. So, yeah, but I'm not really sure where to take it. That's the question. Yeah, that's the big question, I guess. I mean, I used to work in the mainstream film industry, and that was something where I would make short films and commercials and feature films, and so that was something that I knew where to take it. But just doing sort of live streaming and being a content creator, as it were. I mean, it's all content, it's all creation, right? When you talk to anyone from any time frame, that it's content. You're making content for a studio, a channel, a TV show, anything. But for me, I just like doing it. It's a good thing. It's a good way for me to pass time. I mean, I did a series once where I talked about this, a travel series. It's just something that I do to pass time until I have no more time to pass. So, which if you're watching this back on my third YouTube channel, I'm going to edit a lot of clips in there. Maybe a bit more interesting to watch. Oh, hey, Amanda. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. I like to see regulars. Um, yeah, so that's something that I think about sometimes. Yeah. Oh, the blue lights. I do have some other blue lights that I just noticed the blue lights in the back, and I have some other ones which I didn't plug in yet. I wanted to plug these in. I got these ones. I don't know how good these are gonna look. But anyways, I mean, I think it's always interesting trying to make something look visually appealing. And I've talked to so many people about filmmaking and so forth where, we talk about the visual aspect really helps people to enjoy watching what they're watching. But then it's interesting because a lot of people don't really actually care about how something looks, ironically. You know, people, some of the most visually unimpressive content out there is actually some of the most viewed and the most enjoyed. And I think short form content, jokes, and comedy prove that. You know, this looks terrible. It's not long enough. I don't know why I got this. I forget. Oh yeah, no, no, no. It was just to light. It was just to light my backboard around my computer. Anyways, but I'll leave that there. That's not bad. Depending, I guess, what you're watching it on, it doesn't look the worst. If I lean back, you can see it more. Oh yes. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Now that outlines me. That's great. Well, that's perfect. I love the outline. Great. We'll keep that. So, anyways, two bananas walk into a bar. There's no joke for that. Uh, so that was sort of my thought on why I started late, because my car accident. I'm gonna try and do more live streams. I was thinking actually tomorrow, and I don't count me in on this. I might actually do an all-day live stream. Now I'm not gonna live stream like I am right now, where I'm right now. I'm on Facebook and I'm on YouTube live streaming, and Cam I'm live streaming, and then I've got a stream just to edit with. A recording, not a stream. I don't think I'm going to do all three platforms at the same time. I don't know. I've got to figure that out. But also, can someone tell me, if you can hear me, comment, how good is the audio? Like right now, I've got, for you guys there on cam, how good is the audio? Because I'm using the audio from this headset. I got a wireless headset. I told you guys I would with my last stream. And then, of course, for my Facebook stream, I've got this big microphone here. And then for you guys on YouTube, I've got a small microphone attached to the big one. But I'm wondering, how good does it sound? I mean, I'll find out later on. I'll find out later, because I'm going to take a look at that. But, yeah. I'm going to have to listen to that and play it back. And, I feel like I almost should be, I kind of, sometimes I think to myself, I want to work in radio and, like, do traffic reports or something of that nature, or just something, because I love listening to the CBC radio. It's just such a fun. There's so many different things there that you can listen to. So many different uh, broadcasts that I like listening to on there, right? And so I thought about that. Should I try and see if maybe I can get a job in radio somewhere? Ideally on air is what I would like. But I really just like entertainment, entertaining people in general. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could. Hi, welcome to Radio 5.7869. We are your one and last true radio station left standing. Call us now at 555-555-5555. That's right, we are streaming live on air. We are a broadcast and a podcast from Everest Mountain. I mean, I don't know. I think about that. Something like I could do that. Hi, welcome back to 69.69 FM. We are a podcast and a broadcast streaming live 24 hours. Call us now with your questions. I've always wanted to do that. Have someone call in and say, hi, long-time listener, first-time caller. Hi, so just can we talk about, where the chickens come from? Is it the chicken or the egg? Which is interesting. I just recently understood this. What came first, the chicken or the egg? So I just recently understood this, and I'm going to try and explain it to you if you don't understand it. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? And it's not the question of me saying, well, obviously it was the egg because we had lizards before we had chickens, right? But that's not what it is, because recently I was listening to a discussion on CBC about this, and that's not what it is, because I would say, well, obviously it was the egg, because the chicken had to come out of an egg. But it actually goes further back than that. It's the question of what genetically split into the chicken fowl, as it were, a bird, and what is an egg. Because the eggs existed before, but it's not that a lot of animals lay eggs. Fish have eggs, but it's not a question of the egg being laid by what thing. It's what turned into it. So listening to that whole discussion is very interesting, because it's sort of like understanding that, apes actually came from humans and not the other way around. But that's the basic level that they teach you in school. It's sort of like teaching you, oh, which chromosomes do you have? And they teach you, X, Y, Y, X, or whatever in school. But if you actually take a science course, you'll realize there's about 22 of them. There's X, Y, Z, Z, X, 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 Y, and they can be interchanged with anybody. So we've always had fowl as well, and we've always had eggs simultaneously. But the question is the genetic DNA makeup. When did that translate into the common chicken that we now know? And that is actually what they're talking about when they're saying chicken or the egg. It's not actually physically what was laid, it's the genetics of it. So it was a great conversation that went on for oh god, it was like an hour-long discussion. And it's fascinating in that aspect because now I understand that more, which is interesting that I didn't before, but you can't know everything because I've got such interest in science. So that's very interesting in how they're looking at it. So that's actually what it means. It's not physically what was literally here in that aspect. And that's why that discussion is actually really difficult and why it's an actual discussion um, because of that aspect. And they don't tell you that part in the beginning when you are first thrown that as a child, in high school or elementary school. They don't explain that back end of it, like a lot of things, right? And so in high school is an introduction, as it were, and then of course you get a taste of it, and then of course you move on to college and university where you're actually given a lot more detail and understand, well, it's not that simple. And that's why I find science so fascinating. It's just phenomenal, right? I mean, but that goes with everything, right? That goes with a lot of things. So now, it's one of those things that, yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of discussions about this with people as well. It's sort of like when I was film producing, and I was producing a film for someone whom we're talking about insurance, and I had to explain to them, well, there's a difference about what the insurance is going to cost. It's not just getting insurance. It's what is it? Is it film? Is it digital? Is it a documentary? Is it a docudrama? It's one of those difficulties there where, depending what it is, it's going to change the complete insurance policy and what it's going to cost you. So it really comes down to a lot of that, right? Like, you never tell people it's a feature film because film assumes that you're actually recording on reels, on celluloid, which you're probably not going to be, right? And I say recording now as well as opposed to shooting for that reason. So, when you look at that, when we were doing insurance, it just really changed what it was going to cost us. And so that just totally blew her mind because it's not just one price fits all, right? So that's what I find fascinating is the technical little details. And in some capacity, it makes sense. In another capacity, it's people trying to screw other people over. But on the other hand, I mean, that's a different discussion. That's not why I want to jump on to stream here today. Because I kind of want to do more streams, because a lot of the stuff that I do is edited short stories, and live I've done on stage, but not so much, streaming. So that's something. And with YouTube, I've never really done it. I think I've done maybe 2 live streams on YouTube before. It's not really the platform that I enjoy for that. I look at YouTube being a platform that I can just upload edited, storied content. Facebook I see more as like a shorts content platform and live streaming, and then Cam is it's just live stream. That's what they're known for. But it's interesting because I was thinking of doing maybe a gaming stream next year, and it's strictly going to be Donkey Kong. Did I just lose a light? No. Strictly, it's going to be Donkey Kong is what I want to do. So, because I play Donkey Kong. But yeah, so that's something that I'm curious about doing. And I didn't bring my snacks. They're at the other end of the room. Sorry, Brooke. I didn't even notice that. Bye, Brooke. No, thank you for jumping in. I knew what you meant there. No, that's what I always thought. It was like the egg first, but which it is in that capacity. But anyways, it's fun. But these are things that are fun to talk about and not serious. I don't take anything really seriously, because most things, I mean, I'm just very lucky in life, and I can admit that. But because of that, I can understand where I can put that luckiness, privilege. Water does the body good. So, anyways, I've also started, um, I've talked about this on other platforms. I'm not really sure how to, I guess I put this on Facebook a little bit. So, I started out in entertainment and media when I was, oh gosh, I mean, I grew up in the industry, but I remember publishing my first article in a newspaper as a teenager. And, anyways, I've always loved writing and fell in love with English, even though, as I've always said, it's one of the most bastardized languages ever that we've created. But so I've started to do slowly a lot of writing that I'm going to publish, because novels and short stories and scripts are one thing, but there's a lot of ideas and segments that I just never knew where to put. So that's the thing. So I figured, well, why don't I put all these ideas and thoughts into a blog? Because that's where they fit realistically, just a blog. So I actually started social media on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, Substacks, and what's the other writing platform? I forget now. Modern? Middle? I'm an idiot. Or is it? Hang on, let me take a look here. I've got it open. Medium. Right, so yeah, I'm all Blue Sky as well. So I'm gonna start publishing some of my written content, my written work, my stories. Um, Hi Mochi, welcome. Hi. So I'm gonna start publishing my short stories, poems, essays on those platforms under the title, username, The Writer in the. The Writer in the. And I explain that, why I did that. And I don't know when I'm going to do those posts or when they're going to be scheduled or anything like that. I'm just going to publish as it sort of comes in that sort of capacity. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that extremely because I've been wanting to do a lot more writing, and then on YouTube you'll be able to listen to me actually, I guess, audio it, which I actually am on Audible and Amazon Music. That's going to be streaming there, and Spotify. So that's kind of my plan for that. Although I mean, I kind of did something similar where I had a show, a podcast that I was doing called The Opinions Show. The Opinions Show. It's everywhere uh, as well. But this will just be more the part of me as a writer. And fair warning, I don't have any novels published yet. I have a couple novels, 3 that I'm working on, but a lot of their stuff is short stories, short scripts. So I'm going to post those. But if anyone has any thoughts on writing, just because I've been writing forever doesn't mean I don't like seeing other people's stuff or ideas or thoughts. Um, and writing is different around the world, right? And that's something I think is fascinating because I speak multiple languages, so I see and understand English in a whole different capacity. But it's interesting, a couple of years ago, and I suggest people taking a look at this one, I actually, so there was a discussion about how apparently, actually physically, people actually that speak multiple languages, there's something in their brains, but even visually, not just the brains, apparently you start to see the world physically different if you speak multiple languages. And I find this so fascinating, and I've been sort of looking into this. I'm going to read about it a lot more, but it's fascinating to me because you don't really know the before and after, because apparently you have to really speak both languages fluently in every capacity. Um, Amanda, I can't really do that right now just because I'm live streaming everywhere. So, although I'm not attached, I was going to say I can't even move because I'm not attached, but I just got these wireless headsets. These are so great. But Amanda, and anyone else that's watching over here, who else is watching? Hang on this other stream. Candy, Renata, MTL69, Alexa, welcome back. How is the audio with these, you guys? Tell me, how is the audio? I'm sure your audio there is really good. Anyways, so back to the thought of the idea is I wonder how, when they say people that speak multiple languages actually see things differently. I see that you're here, Mochi. It's interesting because so Mochi, I'm looking up here. I don't know what this means because That's interesting because what does this mean up here when it says three, four people? What does that mean? Anyways, but I see you. There's emoji. Where are you from? Emoji cat. I love that. That's great. That word emoji too, just it's like butter. Emoji. Emoji. Emoting. Um, but I find that fascinating that people speak multiple languages must that physically see in a different capacity. But how am I to know? I'd have to know what happened before to now know the difference. But you don't know what's happening because it's sort of in you. But it's interesting learning a language as an adult versus a child because I've grown up with multiple languages, but then I've also learned some later on. And oh, you're a mochi. Okay, got it. That makes sense. That makes sense. Mochi, do you speak other languages? Is anyone else here? Amanda, who's watching down here, you guys speak any other languages? Any favorite languages? Because I find it interesting, when adults learn new things, they're learning from previous experiences. And so that's why it's more difficult because they're kind of set, their mind is set. So it's more difficult for adults. But um, otherwise, you're just learning from, you know, nothing. It's open. So I found that interesting when I learned that adults struggle in that capacity just because of the fact that they are learning based on previous experience. So they're always trying to reference something as an adult, which is very interesting. And I think about that when I had a job, and I think, when I was being trained for something, was I just thinking about previous things to connect to learn how to do this? And in fact, I was to a certain extent, but I think I've always been a really open and just, I don't know, interested person. I'm just curious about nature and people and life. So for me, I think it's not so much that a lot of times it's just I was absorbing a lot of things, and I think that's why people say, wow, he kind of seems to know a lot. I'm like, well, I have interest in things. I don't know. Nobody knows everything. And it's not about how much you know, but it's fascinating how much there is, and how much you know about more things connects everything. I mean, it's so great how things grow on top of each other. Ah, yeah. Well, Yoshi, I mean, don't get me started on that one because in my live stream maybe next year I'll be doing gaming live stream and I'm gonna do Donkey Kong and I was considering Yoshi and I do love Yoshi because don't we all? But yeah, it's interesting. And then of course there's the other capacity of it, which is Kirby, and Kirby was fun. So I don't know if you guys have any ideas of what kind of gameplay I should be doing. And I do have some cards here that I brought for a card. I want to talk about my goal for next year. I want to start talking about like some more fitness stuff that I do. And cards are a way that I mix them up and you pull out a card. And let's say it's the king, right? So that's the king. That's how many push-ups you have to do. And then you put it back in the deck. And then you do 10 push-ups. And then you mix the deck a little bit, and then you pull out another card, and oh, it's king again, so 10 more push-ups, and then you mix the deck, and then you pull out again, and then you get a 3 of hearts, so you do 3 push-ups. So I think that's a fun way to get your body. Similar ideas if you're hiking, and so on a treadmill, there's treadmill settings for saying, oh, I want to do mountain hiking, right? And so that kind of goes up and down, up and down. So I think it's a great way to get your body sort of challenging a little bit. And hey, Repzel, thank you. I appreciate it. And I think that gives your body just, it just challenges you and pushes you. And it feels great. And again, going back to what I said earlier about trying to be healthy, next year I'm going to try and do that more. And again, it's just a fact of this is what I like to do. And hopefully it inspires someone. Because I also go online to watch people and to watch videos. Because that's where we go now. We want to know other people's experiences, right? We reach out to people because that's who we are. We're human. We're very interactive. And yeah, so that's kind of my plans for next year. I am actually live streaming on 3 devices right now. I'm live streaming on Facebook and YouTube and on Cam right now. And then I've got a background recorder that I'm doing so I can edit this content and slice it up, put some videos in there and references. Then I'm going to upload to another YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm streaming all over the place. Speaking of which, game streaming. I'm going to be doing that next year, maybe. I'm wondering where I should do that. I mean, I know Twitch is the thing, right? Obviously. But is that the best place then? I'm wondering for doing um, my my streaming for um, hey Natty, welcome Natty, hi. Doing my streaming for the games. I wonder. I mean, is YouTube a thing? Mochi, have you? I mean, I've watched some people play games on YouTube, but not necessarily live streaming them. And that's what I'm wondering about. Yeah, that's something I have to look into to see exactly the best platform for streaming, if I have any, sort of time for that. Because as I mentioned earlier, I've got the writing platform that I've been doing. I'm trying to do some writing of the content and like all the stuff that I've had published for newspapers and short stories that I haven't really shared recently. So I'm gonna try and do that more, I think. And then I don't know, again, I'll put them on YouTube and maybe do voiceover for them, which is what I've started doing already. Yeah. So I don't know, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in general and put out there. Yeah. Gosh, I'm tired. And again, it's just like it's weird because my day has gone by with my car accident earlier. For those that are just joining us down here and on Facebook, YouTube, yeah, I was in a car accident today, unfortunately. So it's weird to think that my day is kind of already done and here and I'm home and I'm tired and I haven't eaten yet and it's been like 7 hours, but I did say and promise that I was going to do this live stream on Facebook, and the YouTube thing was impromptu. I didn't think that I was going to do the YouTube stream, but I was trying to test it out because I'm trying to hope to actually stream on my new channel, but I wanted to test it out on my first channel. Anyways, yeah, so that's that. I've got nothing more to say, but join me on Facebook and YouTube next weekend, where I'm going to talk about organic stuff and my view on food and all that, and trying to be healthy. So join me then. So yeah, I'm going to say goodbye right now on Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to stay on a bit longer with Cam, and you guys can rewatch this, as I mentioned, enjoy. Hopefully the audio was okay. This was new. So I'll re-listen later, but cool. Have a good night, everyone. Say goodbye to everyone on YouTube and to everybody on Facebook.